And we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get started too, Bill.
Oh, okay. You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay, well, just a second. I'm not as good as Diane.
And in the meantime,
Okay.
all right. Rotary motto, everybody.
Service above self.
And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you will, unfortunately, we've had some pretty bad news on some deaths of police officers and still some bad things happening across the country. So a moment of silence for the people that have lost loved ones. Okay, thank you, Bill. And just a reminder, we are recording. And let's see here. Okay, some announcements to start off with. As always, think about projects. And I'm going to let Paul talk a little bit about the COVID situation, which is not getting any better at all. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the news about COVID continues to be bad. The number of cases in the entire state has now reached the point of the high transmission level as defined by the CDC, and Virginia Beach's number is even worse than the state's, considerably worse actually, and Accomack County is considerably worse than Virginia Beach. The number of cases in Accomack County is now in excess of 200 cases per 100,000 people, which is the datum that the CDC uses. Anything over 100 cases per 100,000 is considered high transmission. Accomack County is over 200. Even in our county, Northampton County, there were 13 new cases this past week, and that gives us over 100 cases per 100,000 population. So even Northampton County is in the high transmission range. Of those 13 cases, 3 of them were reported from Cape Charles. So it's here, it's increasing. The CDC recommends that not just in high transmission areas, but in substantial transmission areas, which Northampton County had jumped into last week, but now it's in the high transmission category. The CDC recommends masking indoors in public places, whether or not you're vaccinated. And that's because even if you're vaccinated, you can get the Delta variant. Just to not try to take too much time, but my daughter's a nurse in Alabama, and she has a coworker in her 30s who was fully vaccinated, but got COVID and was homesick, like with a bad case of the flu for a week. So you can get pretty sick from it. Obviously, the vaccination makes it much less likely for you to catch it. And it means that if you do catch it, you're very, very unlikely to get severely ill to the point of needing hospitalization or dying, but you can get it and you can spread it to others. So that's the current recommendation. And I would now say definitely, on the Eastern Shore, if you're going into a public place indoors, you should wear a mask.
Okay, Paul, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I just got on. I've been in a zoning appeals board meeting all morning, and I ran into Katie Nunez, and I was telling her about your reports and putting them out each week. And she asked me to see if you could include her on the distribution list for that.
Be glad to.
And she has a town email. I'm not sure what it is, but you probably used it already. If not, if you can't find it, I'll get it for you.
If you could send that to me, I don't think I have used it.
Yeah, I'll make myself a note to do that right after the meeting. And she also said to say hi to everybody too.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Well,
thank you,
let
Paul.
me ask Paul, it's just a point blank question. Does the current vaccine work against the Delta mutation of COVID? Does it work?
Yes, it definitely works. It protects against severe disease requiring hospitalization, and it protects against death. It doesn't totally prevent you from getting COVID. That's true of virtually any vaccination. If you had the flu vaccination, you can still get a case of the flu, but it's not going to be as severe as it would have been otherwise.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Paul? Dr. Clark, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I would just agree with what Paul said. You know, the vaccine does work, but no vaccine's 100% effective. So, I'd still use caution and wear your mask when you go in food line and you're around large groups.
Okay, the last I heard, the vaccine was 95% effective. Does that still stand? And that's to prevent you from getting it.
I think so. What do you think, Mark?
I would say so. I mean, the Delta variant wasn't around when they did the initial studies and came up with those numbers, but they say it might be somewhat more contagious than the first strain that was out there, but it's still effective. I don't know if 95%. We are seeing some breakthrough cases where people that have been vaccinated have gotten COVID, and it's mostly that Delta variant, but it's still effective, as Paul said, from causing severe cases or hospitalization and that type of thing.
And go ahead.
What about breakthrough infections for those who have had disease before, who have recovered from COVID, but without vaccination?
That's a good question. I have I've looked for that answer. And if there are any, they're very few. So that having had COVID probably protects you against the Delta variant at least as well as the vaccination does.
Is it recommended if you had COVID to also get vaccination?
It is. The CDC still recommends that. At least, well, the CDC recommends both shots. A lot of experts recommend one.
Any news on the front as far as getting vaccines for infants as well as people under 12? Are you hearing any kind of dates for maybe that becoming available?
I hear hopefully this winter.
Okay. All right, so within the next 4 months or so.
Paul, could you speak about the transmission of the variant, please?
Well, we know that people that get the Delta variant have about 1,000 times more virus in them and in their nose than the people with the older variants. And that so far, the figure I've heard is at least twice as contagious as the old variant. And I've heard it compared to chickenpox. And you know that the kids with chickenpox, if you put them in a room with other kids, the other kids are going to get chickenpox. So that's highly contagious.
Well, I guess there's really, it's kind of twisted, but the one, I don't want to call it good news, but the one affected that these people getting infected with it, they're building immunity, right? So they then become part of the herd immunity crowd once they get through having the Delta version of the
Yeah.
COVID virus.
That's true if they survive it.
Well, the survival rate's pretty high.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a lot higher than the death rate is a lot higher than the flu.
okay. All right. Any other questions for Paul or Dr. Clark or Mehdi?
Does anybody see this having any impact on next week's meeting at the park?
Well, we talked about that. We're taking it day by day. We're still going to hold the meeting. Right now, the choice is you can wear a mask if you want.
Okay,
If you feel like you don't want to wear a mask and you are, we're asking that everybody be vaccinated or in some way immune, meaning maybe you had COVID and survived. Right now, it's personal choice. So if you feel more comfortable wearing masks, please, by all means, do so. If you're
Let me
fine
speak.
without it, that's fine.
Let me speak to that for a second. For one thing, it's outside, and the risk of transmission outside is quite low. Number two, we're requiring vaccination to come, or immunity otherwise. And we know that certainly the CDC still says that people that are fully vaccinated can get together without masks, even indoors. Now, certainly, like I said, people that are fully vaccinated can get a breakthrough case and can spread it to others. The only people that's been documented with are people that actually have symptoms. So if you have an asymptomatic case of COVID and been fully vaccinated, you may or may not be able to spread it. Now, I still think we should probably follow precautions, and I would discourage shaking hands, and I would maintain some social distance from people, but outside the risk is low.
Okay.
Good. One quick question. The dinner that we were speaking on, that's going to be held outside?
Yes, at the park,
Next
Oh,
week.
that one. Oh, okay. All right.
Cape
I'm
Charles
sorry.
Park.
All right. I had my head in the air. I was thinking about the
Well,
governor's dinner.
yeah, the governor's 3 club meeting is a little bit of a different matter.
Yeah.
We're again restricting it to people that are fully immune, and the CDC says that that's okay. But the risk, you can't say it's going to be zero. It'll be very, very, very small.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Paul. Want to move on to the Norfolk Tides baseball game on August 29th that
Joan
Bill,
has a question.
I'm sorry, go ahead. What was that again?
Joan has a question.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Joan. Go ahead. You're on
Joan,
mute.
Joan, you unmute. Joan, you unmute.
Okay, I'm sorry, Paul, I chatted Katie's work email address to you. It's
Oh,
in,
thanks. Okay, I see.
Bill, you're off the hook.
Okay, I'm gonna let Bill Payne talk about the Norfolk Tides baseball game, August 29th, but we'd like to see some people sign up. Contact Bill and we'll get organized and get over to that baseball game. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. So Bill, go ahead.
Yes, thanks, Chuck. 29th, that's a Sunday after church. I have bought a ticket for me and a friend, and I hope you buy a ticket at least for yourself, and we'll go out and we'll have hot dogs and beer. And the most important thing we'll do other than having fun is we'll be supporting Polio Plus. As you know, and this has been an annual event with the exception of last year. A portion of the ticket, which is $14, you buy online, goes to supporting Polio Plus. I've sent another reminder email to you that should be in your inbox right now. So start thinking about it. Put it on your calendar, even if you're not sure you're going to go. But by putting it on your calendar, you'll start leaning that way. And I don't want to get in the way of our picnic or the 3 club meeting because it's a busy month. But this is something we have to do. We all can chew gum and walk and maybe do handstands at the same time. Thank you, Chuck.
You bet. Okay, as far as projects go, I actually wanted to ask you a question, Bill Murphy. How experienced are you working with painting as far as like a facility or? I ask you because one project we had about 1.5 years ago was that little booth outside of town painting, sanding that down and painting, and you had the sanding materials and everything. What I'm talking about is the caboose over at the Cape Charles Museum. Do you know a lot about painting and priming and stuff like that?
Well, Chuck, actually, I'm maybe you need to refresh my memory. I'm not sure what project we're talking about here, or maybe somebody else could, but
Youth garden. I think he's talking about the youth garden.
Yeah.
oh, the youth garden. Oh,
when we
yeah,
did
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just a bunch of us got together with sandpaper and scrapers, and we rough sanded and scraped the peeling paint off the garden shed and put a couple of coats of paint back over it. So nothing elaborate. I don't know a great deal about any type of industrial coatings or paints or
Okay.
something like that, but I do know on something exterior like that that's going to be exposed to weather, you really do need to get a good substrate for it to bite to. You need a tooth profile sometimes to get the primer to go down in there and hold on tight. So if you, at least very minimum, you have to rough it up good when you put the primer on. And then when you put the top coats, it'll smooth out. There are a lot of primers, I think you've already bought them, that will do that. They'll fill and smooth out low spots. So that's really about all I know.
Okay. Well, the thing we have going on with the caboose, there's a lot of rust on the roof of that, and the paint is peeling off, and there's a couple of coats of paint. We started trying to sand it down, and we did about 25 square feet of that roof and just could not get it down to the bare metal. And we were hitting rust and flaking everything. And the guy with the Cape Charles Museum, he's sort of the mindset, well, just paint over all of it. And I just don't think that, I don't think that's the right move. So I'm kind of looking for somebody with a professional opinion, I guess.
Well, not a professional, but there are different types of encapsulators and inhibitors that, because there are a lot of things people paint. I had a little experience with this years ago with cars. I mean, sometimes you just really can't get everything down to bare metal like you would like to, but you get it as much as you can. You get all the loose rust and paint stuff off. And if you can't really get it all the way down, or if you're going to grind a hole in it, and I can't think of the name of it right off the bat, but I think it's called OSPHO. There used to be a lot of different coatings that you could put on areas like that that would either encapsulate or inhibit the rust from coming back. And then you could put a primer over top of that.
Okay. You mind if I give you a call offline? We talk a little more about it?
No, sure, I'd be glad to. I
Okay.
mean, that's pretty much what I know, but yeah, no problem.
All right. I may ask you to come over there and just have a look at it and give me your opinion on it.
Okay.
Okay. As far as other projects, Bob Church, what about the fire hydrants? Bob Church, you're on mute.
We need to get a team of people together and talk, because the people that I'm talking to, we're not making any movement. They just keep giving me answers that aren't really answers. So we're not moving in. Very disappointed.
Okay. I thought someone was going to try and contact, I might be confusing it with another project. I thought someone was going to try and contact the town of Cape Charles anyway. All right. Okay. Medi, do you want to bring up something about the basket raffle? Medi or Mary?
Well, the Rotary basket is now complete, and we have several items that we donated, and 2 items particularly have big value, so that the Rotary basket's value now is $942.
Wow.
Okay. And when is that drawing?
The drawing is sometime in September.
We don't have an exact date yet.
So there is a date, but I don't have it exactly, but the basket is due after August 15.
Okay. Mary, did you want to add anything?
I think we have almost everything together. I went to Maddie's house. We took a look, and from the value perspective, I think the value is 900 something, so that's good. And then from the volume to fill the basket, we also have that taken care as well. And Maddie asked me to go there on Friday. This Friday, we will put it together, and we can. After we finish that, we can take a picture and send to you, and you can see how it looks like.
Okay, sounds good. And Medi, while we've got you, you want to bring up some information on the Cape Charles Hidden History Project?
Yeah, the Invisible History Project is getting underway. After the meeting today, we will have a meeting of the site committee. So the members of the site committee, please stay behind after the meeting, because we are going to discuss where we are with the site ID. But the interview committee is completing its work and will begin the training program for the interviews, so we can really be active.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, Patrick Tompkins wanted to say hello to you. We'll bring you on here in just a few minutes. Patrick will be our speaker today, and he's going to talk to us about the community college and things going on there.
Hey, Chuck, I'd like to introduce my new best friend, Dave Wilcox, who is a tremendous guy and maybe a future Rotarian. And
Oh,
he's
good.
joined the meeting today. Everybody say hello to David.
Hi, David.
Hello, everyone.
David,
Welcome.
So, okay, thanks for the opportunity to be part of it until
You
I hear your
bet.
agenda.
Glad to have you. And we have Tom Godwin with us too now. Good. All right. We talked a little bit about it. We're still on for the first in-person meeting over at the Coffee House on September 7th. And you are required, or we're asking that you be immune to the COVID virus, either having been infected previously or hopefully been vaccinated. It'll be our normal meeting time, 12 o'clock. We'll have lunch. And as Paul mentioned, probably a good idea to have a little bit of social distancing. Wear a mask if you're comfortable with it. Right now, there's no mandate in place that you have to wear a mask. But if you're comfortable with it, please do wear a mask. Our district governors meeting, right now, it's sort of the same situation. We do require that you either be vaccinated or in some other way immune. The sign-up sheet is out there. I have to have the numbers turned in by a week from today. So that meeting is on the 24th, starts at 5 p.m. And I do have to have all the counts in by a week from today. So please take a look at that, sign up, bring a guest. The top dollar figure is about $40 per person. For the club and club members, those costs will be covered by the club. For guests, we're estimating $40. That will be the top end. We're working on the price to bring that down somewhat. And as soon as we get that solidified, I'll send that out. We're still looking for an awards committee chairperson. And we've talked about that quite a bit, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Call your buddies, and especially if there are people that have not participated in club meetings for a while online with us. So let them know that there is some emails out there about an in-person meeting over at the park next week. I have to turn those numbers in today, but if during the day today, you can get in touch with them and just ask them, hey, are you seeing emails about meeting in the park next week? And if not, maybe we can talk them into coming. So if we get any more last minute people wanting to come, let me know. Today I have to turn in the numbers, but if they contact me tomorrow, I can make that call to Roberta and see if we can sneak a few other meals in there. So call your buddies. Invite friends and neighbors, as Bill has done today. And we look forward to starting our in-person meetings, but we're also going to be looking at making it a combined meeting. We're going to see if we can fire up Zoom sessions while we're in the meeting in the coffee house for people who can't make it to the coffee house or just feel a little bit safer not showing up yet until this whole COVID situation goes away. So we are definitely looking at the technology we need to make it a combined type meeting. And as far as announcements go, that's all I have. Does anybody else want to bring up anything for the good of the club? All right, if not, then Bill, guess what time it is? It's Happy Dollars time. Anybody want to kick it off with some Happy Dollars? Bill Murphy?
Chuck, I'd like to kick it off
Okay.
and celebrate Dave Wilcox joining our meeting today. Dave is probably the first Zoom guest we've had in a long time who is not a speaker. So we are turning the corner. The club is taking off. Dave, welcome again. And I'm $5 happy. I'm that happy.
And Dave, are you local in the Northampton County area? You're on mute.
Yeah, right. We moved here in 18. We built here and have moved full time since last March, not this last March, but a year ago March. So
Oh, okay.
In Bay Creek.
Where are you originally from?
Well, we're from Northern Virginia. We're from Alexandria and spent the last 20 years living there, but originally from New York. And then we moved to Northern Virginia and found this area and have moved down here.
Well, we were neighbors then because I lived in Herndon, Virginia, if you know.
Oh, you did? Yes.
Yeah, I lived there from 1996 until I retired in 2015, and then I moved down here.
Yep.
But I'm originally from Baltimore, so like you, was in Northern Virginia, but from somewhere else.
Yeah, we're all moving south, right?
Yes. Well, welcome to the area and welcome to our club meeting. And as Bill said, hopefully you like what you see and we get to see more of you.
Very good. Thank you.
And go ahead, David.
Yeah, I've got $5 happy dollars, fellas. In the past 30 days, through travel, I've seen all 10 of my grandchildren,
Wow.
which,
Hmm.
Awesome.
nowadays is a pretty big deal.
Yes.
Okay. I flew out to Boulder, Colorado, and spent a week out there in the mountains. And I had grandchildren from Portland, Oregon meet me there. I also went down to Cape Hatteras and with my son from Asheville and my granddaughter from New York. So it's been a really busy, great summer. And it just touches me deeply to be able to, to see these wonderful grandchildren of mine. So I just wanted to share that with the group. Thank you.
Way to go, David.
Good.
John Burtis, did you have your hand up? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. I've got $10. I got 5 each quickly for Sheila and myself. We each completed a 5K last Saturday in the mountains of West Virginia. It wasn't steep, but it wasn't flat like here. We trained for 2 whole weeks to get ready, so I can't imagine why we were unprepared. But I did do it in 38 minutes, actually a little bit under that. So I was happy with that.
Wow,
So
that's good.
$10, 5 for each of us. And I beat Sheila. It's the only thing that I consistently beat her in. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Was it all downhill for you?
No, it was in and out, uphill out, which made me think about a quarter of the way in the thing. I should have quit, laid down, grown up, whatever. But I kept pushing along and finally got to the turn, and it was downhill coming back, which was a lot easier than going out.
Yeah, you can almost roll downhill.
Oh, yeah, well, I thought I was going to a time or two, but I did fine. Stayed erect the whole time.
All right, anyone else? Mary, go ahead. You're on mute.
I have 2 happy dollars. My first dollar is I met Dave's wife, Bessie, and I really love her. And she volunteers the New Ruth Garden, and my daughter goes there every Thursday. And she's wonderful. And my second daughter is because Dave joined us today. And I'm just happy. And actually, my third dollar is Bill connected with Dave. Actually, I have $3.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mary. Anyone else with happy dollars? Go ahead, Al.
And so I have 5 happy dollars because last week I was up, got a chance to travel and see my brother-in-law and sister-in-law in Rutland, Vermont. And that was pretty cool. And the other thing I'm happy for is I qualified for the 5K swim across Tampa Bay in January. And at my age, that was a pretty good thing. So my qualifying time was good enough.
Wow.
And yeah, so there you go.
So is there uphill and downhill and swimming as well?
Depends on the current at the time.
Okay. One other thing I forgot to mention as far as our park meeting, if you bought school supplies, bring them with you. And Al has actually volunteered to get the school supplies that we collect there up to the site. I can't remember the name of the what is it, Lee Scott?
Edward Jones.
Edward Jones, yeah.
Yeah, and they are forwarding the collection of everything they get for school supplies over to the Northampton school systems. Al, do you have a box by any chance?
You mean a box to carry the supplies? Yes, I'll bring one with me.
Okay, I was looking in my garage for a box and I don't have a box, so.
No, I have something, I'll bring it.
All right, okay. And one other thing, a public service announcement I want to bring up. If any of you saw an email this morning from supposedly Charlie Dickinson, disregard it. It's a scam email. He did not send it. The email address would be so have Sylvan Seen at Verizon.com, but it has Charlie's name on it. It's a scam. It asks you to send him or pick up some gift cards for him. So disregard those. And that's all I have. And I want to bring on our guest. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill Murphy.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but after hearing John Burtis talk about running 5K, I've got two happy dollars for that because him and I are almost the exact same age. And John, I don't think I've run that far in the last 5 years. So that's well done. Also, I've got three happy dollars for my three grandsons. They're going up tomorrow for a tour of UVA in Charlottesville. One of them is very interested in going there, and the other two are coming along towards it. So I told them I'm very proud of them. If they go there, that's a great school. But I told them, do not under any circumstance buy me a UVA t-shirt because I won't wear it. I'm a lifelong Virginia Tech fan. But anyway, I'm very happy that they're considering that and probably have the grades to get in there if their parents can afford it. So I got three happy dollars for that.
Oh, that's excellent.
Hey,
Now,
hey, Bill, are you still in California?
No, I'm home. I've been home 10 days or so. I've lost track of time, but no, I'm home. Mhm.
Well, my grandson's playing out there at the University of San Diego right now in some kind of thing. Okay, never mind. Sorry about that.
Okay, if I was there, I would go because that's pretty close to where our place is, just a couple of miles.
and I wanted to bring up one thing. Diane Dawson did contribute to the school supply fund. She actually ordered some things online and had them sent up to the collection place. So I wanted to recognize Diane for contributing. And Paul is ordering, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, he will be ordering some backpacks from Amazon and having them delivered. Okay. All right, I want to bring on our guest speaker today, and it's Patrick Tompkins. And Patrick, will you need to share screen, or are you going to have some slides for us?
I will. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Bill Payne's going to set that up for you. And I know there's been a lot of changes up there at the college, new buildings popping up and everything else. And I'm sure you got new programs starting as well. So we're going to let you speak up today and tell us all about what's going on at the community college.
Well, terrific. Thank you very much. And Bill, let me know when you're ready for share screen.
You go ahead, Patrick.
All right. Just give me a second here. I've got multiple monitors, and so I have to work it on different ones. And I think I'm on. And so tell me if you're able to see it and if it looks okay.
5 by 5.
We got it.
Great. Thank you. And my camera and my screen are on two different spots, so you'll see me look away from you time to time. Thanks so much for inviting me to the Cape Charles Rotary. I should have been with you guys a couple of years ago, but there was that thing called COVID that got in our way. And you're right, there is a lot going on at the college, much more than I can cover today. So I'm going to hit 5 big things. First, I thought you might like to know a little bit about me. And so I was born in Philadelphia. I lived a couple of years in Iowa. That's the corn there. I did a year of penance in Oklahoma. And then I moved to Virginia in 1988, and I've been here since. This is my family. That's my husband, John. We've been together 26 years. And our son, Amari. He's 8 years old. He's the cutest kid on the shore, I'll say that. And Amari's going into 3rd grade. And John is a portrait artist. And this is some of his work. And you can see on the left is our son, and in the center is John's mom. And on the right is just a woman who he worked with and liked her face and wanted to paint her a portrait. My education, I got degrees in philosophy and English at Villanova, an English degree, a master's at Iowa State, Master of Fine Arts and Creative Writing at Virginia Commonwealth University, and a PhD in Community College Leadership from ODU. And I've taught or worked at all of these places. So Iowa State, VCU, there on the top right, that's Southwestern Oklahoma State University in Weatherford, Oklahoma. And this had been a teacher's college primarily. Down on the lower left, that is the trailblazers of what was used to be called John Tyler Community College. It's now called Bright Point Community College, a name that no doubt was designed by a consultant. In the center, you see the Gators of what is now called Thomas Nelson Community College, but they will be changing their name as well. And then I've taught at ODU. Matter of fact, I'll be teaching there this summer. And then up there in the center all by itself is your Eastern Shore Community College. I've been a member of Rotary since 2014. It is something that I just love doing. I love our mission in Rotary. I've met the best people in Rotary because one of the things that I find in Rotary are people who put service above self, and they actually believe that, and they live that out every day. I regret to inform you that I have joined the Nancock branch of Rotary on the Shore. I live in Nancock, and of course, they're very close with the college in terms of distance, but I'll be troubling you all time to time. Come on down there for lunch. So let me switch and talk about the college. And you see our new building there. This is our 50th anniversary. And on August 5th, last Thursday, we had our 50th commencement. And you can see the governor was our commencement speaker. We had a packed house in Nandua High School. If there was an empty chair in there, I couldn't find it. One of the things we do at your Eastern Shore Community College that I'm not aware of any other community college that does this, we have commencement for all of our learners. So most community colleges, they only have commencement for people who earn academic credentials, like an associate degree. But we hold it for people who earn a credential in CDL. I mean, those folks are starting out making $60,000 a year. And folks who complete the high school equivalency credential, and folks who complete the hair braiding class and set up their own business or go to work with someone else. This is part of our philosophy of inclusion. We believe every learner counts. You're probably aware that the college has gone through some tough times, and in 2019, on June 30th, 2019, we had what I call the Saturday Night Massacre, and they laid off about a third of the staff, and they put the college on a 3-year reboot, which is basically get it together or bad things will happen to you. The college, in my experience, I'm only here 2 years, but I'm amazed by how much the college is embraced by the Shore, valued by the Shore, loved by the Shore, supported by the Shore. So we've got the right community. We needed to fix some things at the college. So every college, every community college in Virginia goes through an assessment annually of sustainability. And these are the 4 criteria. And if you fail on all 4, then you're put into a reboot. And the only college in Virginia to fail on all 4 is your Eastern Shore Community College. So the first criterion is that you have a population greater than 100,000. And in order for us to get out of this reboot, we're going to have to fix one or more of these. I don't think we're going to get to 100,000 by January. You have to have a cost that's less than 125% of the average cost among Virginia's community colleges. We're in the 130s. We'll never get to 125 because we have fixed costs that we can't spread over much scale. Think about somebody who has to certify veterans or works with students with disabilities or must comply with Title IX law and reporting. If you're a Northern Virginia Community College with 50,000 students, you have 10 people working on each of those things. Here, we just are never going to make that cost. Enrollment of more than 500 full-time equivalent students. A full-time equivalent student is one student who takes 5 classes or 5 students who take 1 class. It's a standard way of measuring enrollment. We last year were at 404. Our enrollment has been growing. Worried about fall. We're down about 15% now, but we've got a couple of weeks left. And today we're holding a registration rally on campus, and downstairs is very busy. The last one is the one we're going to win on, and that is increasing the number of workforce credentials. So these are fast forward programs or workforce credential grant programs that are industry recognized credentials, such as in NCCER construction or electricity, or in CompTIA networking. The reason we're going to win on this is twofold. One is because the college was doing a terrible job with workforce before 2019. And the second is we have an incredible workforce team. And they have stood up 6 new programs in workforce and 4 new programs in adult education. In academics, we have revised 12 programs. We've revised 14 programs and started 12 new programs. So we are trying to expand the programming on the shore to capture more learners. So when I joined in November of 2019, when you folks have a lot of experience in business, industry, government, and you know that when you're a new senior leader, the first thing you do is you come in and you listen for a year. You don't change anything. You understand the organization and the culture, and you become really familiar with what's working, what's not, what are the possibilities. Because we were on a 3-year reboot, I didn't have that luxury. And so what I pitched to the college was that we were going to have to make a couple or 3 big bets that had a high likelihood of success. And that's why you see 3 kings there. We don't need aces, but we need kings or queens. And we need ones that are high likelihood of success. So our first big bet is called Yes. And this one turned out to be bigger than we ever imagined. It's our brand, our internal brand. We call it our culture of hospitality, accountability, inclusion, and transparency. That board you see there is Professor Chevelle Mason. And on Heritage Festival in 2019, as folks visited the campus, we told them about Yes. Yes stands for Your Eastern Shore. We believe this college belongs to everyone on the shore. It doesn't belong to Patrick Tompkins or any of our employees. It belongs to everybody on the shore, including Patrick Tompkins. It's also my college. We also brand Yes as the whole shore belongs to all of us, and it also belongs to each of us. And so on that Heritage Festival, Professor Mason asked folks who visited to write down their yes. President Schaefer's yes is inclusivity. My yes is a caring culture. Our faculty asked students to define their yes, and we got a second home, a safe place, the next step on my journey. And so we use yes every day on our campus, and it's this culture that we have built that believes in what we're doing and that is affirmative. And those of you have a lot of experience, you know that if you're going to change an organization, you've got to change the culture. And we've done that with Yes. Our second big bet was moving all of our academic classes to 8-week sessions. We're the first community college in Virginia to do this. I didn't say the only because the others will follow. It's just going to take them longer than it took us. We moved our courses to 8-week sessions because the research shows that students are more successful. I'll give you a quick example. If you take biology and you enroll in August and you make it through August and you make it through September and you make it through October and you make it to Thanksgiving, and then something happens, your car breaks down, you suddenly have to take care of an elderly parent, you lose your job, you get 0 credits for August, September, October, most of November. You get 0 credits. If you're in 8-week sessions, you would have already racked up the credits for that biology course and would be in your second one. It offers more on-ramps to students, more flexibility. So we moved to 8-week sessions because it's a big bet that has a high probability of success. We had some growing pains with it. We've learned a lot about it. Some of our older staff or more experienced staff still are fighting me on 8 weeks, but the faculty member who fought me the most told me that it could never work. Now tells me he would never go back to 16 weeks because he said the students learn more and they grow more quickly with 8-week sessions. Our third big bet we call One Door. So the way I describe this is we have 2 buildings on campus. If you go in the one building, you will meet a very nice server who will give you a menu of programs and who will serve you well. If you go in the other building, you will meet a very nice server who will give you a menu of programs and who will serve you well. The problem is the menus in those buildings are different and the servers don't know the menu in the other building. So what program you get is somewhat of an accident of what door you walk in. So we have what are called academic programs. We have what we call career technical education, workforce, adult education. A lot of that is our language. we offer a nurse aid program in workforce and a nurse aid program in the academic side. And I don't find students coming to the college saying, I want the workforce nurse aid program. I don't want the academic. Or the other way, I want the academic. I don't want the workforce. They come to us with a dream, rarely a plan. And our role is to match their aspirations with the programs we have. And then we can tell them, look, here's a program in workforce, and this is the advantages, and this is the disadvantages. You can take it in academic, here are the advantages and disadvantages. Let's talk about the path that's right for you. One Door is not our idea. It's something that's moving across the nation. A lot of colleges aspire to One Door. I have not met one that does. I'm sure there is. There are thousands of community colleges out there, but even in Virginia, it's really, really hard to actually integrate things. One of the colleges that's a leader in One Door, I didn't see all their programs in their catalog, and they still have a catalog that lists their academic programs and does not list their workforce programs. In our catalog now, we list every program we offer. Once you are interested in a program, then we'll talk about how the financial aid works, how the calendar works on it, what credentials it leads to. Here's our new big bet. It's we just announced it in Friday's Eastern Shore Post, and that's what we call Contact to Career. We aspire to connect with students as soon as they contact us in any manner, and to stick with them all the way through coaching and mentoring and what we call intrusive advising. And we're going to do something different than many other colleges. When you graduate, you're not going to fall off a cliff. Many college students, you read the papers, they fall off the cliff into their parents' basement couch. You graduate in May, we're going to call you in August, and we're going to say, you said you were going to transfer to ODU. Are you at ODU now? You're not? Why aren't you at ODU? What can we do to help? We're going to call you, if you graduate in May, we're going to call you in June, and we're going to say, you got your credential in welding. Are you welding now? You're not? Okay, why not? Let's see how we can help you. And so I want to show you a very brief video that illustrates how community college students are different. 4-year students, they enroll in August, and 4 years later in May, sometimes 5 years later in May, they walk across the stage. Our students do not walk that path. Here's how it goes for our students. So you can see the river changing. This is called an oxbow right there. You can see a student getting stranded out there. Look how that path continues to change over time. And so that's the path that our students take. It's not a straight path. They come in and they come out. They start down one road, and then they get interrupted by, again, a health emergency or something. And 2 years later, they come back. We graduated through Tidewater Community College. I think it was 12 registered nurses in May. And every one of those registered nurses had been in one of our programs previously. Nurse aide, LPN. Some of them were coming pretty close out of it. They'd graduated from the LPN a year or so before. Some of them, it was many years before that they graduated out of those programs. If you look at degree attainment in community colleges, the 6-year rate, most students in 6 years do not earn their associate degree. It's just the reality of our students. Some of that we can do things about, but a lot of it has to do with life and personal circumstances and working adults. Many students at the university are not working. They can spend their whole time focusing on being a university student. Our students do not have that luxury by and large. Most of our students say that they're going to change jobs when they graduate from college. So we have to prepare them for that. Here's a survey of 11,000 employers across the nation. And you'll see that the employers ranked as the #1 skill to understand the role in the workplace and have realistic career expectations. But you see here that students and alumni only ranked it 4th or 5th. And if you look at that red bar, that's where faculty ranked it. So out of 11 skills, employers ranked this number 1 and faculty ranked it 9, near the bottom. We have a gap in expectations of students and faculty compared to what employers are expecting. A study by AAC&U found that 80% of employers value students who have a workplace learning experience while they're in college. We know that students who work are more successful, so they are twice as likely to complete their associate degree, and they're 5 times more likely to be enrolled when they graduate if they work while they're in college. So here's our vision, and it's a bold one: to provide a workplace learning experience for all ESCC learners. There's not a community college in Virginia that does it. If it was easy, others would have done it. It's a very, very difficult goal, but it's the right goal. Waiting until graduation to provide students with employment skills is waiting too late. We need to get them involved with the world of work. And business tells us our students need customer service. They need communication. They need problem solving, collaboration, showing up on time, being professional. So we want to connect our students with a workplace learning experience while they're enrolled at the college. And it would come in these 3 ways. One would be credit for prior learning. So we have students who already, they've been working for decades and they've got great experience and great skills, and they don't need much top up, and we can give them some credit for that experience. Credit while working. Most of our students are working while they're here. They don't have to switch jobs, and we don't have to get them an internship. They can, but we don't have to do that. We can layer on some skills while they're working, so we can have them enrolled in an internship class. They keep their current position, but they keep a reflective journal for 8 weeks. They interview their employer about that person's career pathway. They reflect on their own learning about professionalism, and then working while learning. And that's your traditional internship. We've got this program partially funded for an employee. We're going to need career software and internships for 2 years. We've got 2 years of seed funding, and then our job is to get grants or funding from other sources to sustain it. Again, it's a really bold play. It's a big promise. The only thing I'm worried about is the person who's running the program, which would be me. I doubt his competence sometimes, but we're going to give it a shot. And if we do it, we believe it will transform not just the college, but it will transform the shore. And we're going to need the support of everybody on the shore, because if you're in Northern Virginia, you can just go to Amazon, they'll give you 150 internships. We don't have employers of that scale. We've got employers with 4 employees. The intern can't afford to do the internship for free because they need that money to survive. And the small employer oftentimes can't afford to pay the intern. So we're going to need folks to step up and volunteer as internship sites, and we're going to need funding for those internships. And so I mentioned this, the career software and the paid internships. So I know we're out of time. I'm sorry that we ran a little bit late. I certainly can stay here and take questions from anybody.
You're not out of town all the time. I'm close to the community college. This is Bill Payne, Patrick. I was on the advisory board for 8 years, and I just want to congratulate you and Jim Schaefer on recognizing the Eastern Shore for what it is. We are, I can relate to a large community here on the Eastern Shore that didn't grow up with their father reading the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, but in many cases had no direction at all. And your model of hands-on learning, and you don't have to necessarily be an academic to get a good job, is something that I think we in the country have failed to recognize. I think you've set the model for community colleges around the country who have our situation. Northern Virginia is different. Here we struggle a bit, and your hands-on approach, taking a student by the hand, will pay off. And I want you to know that I, for one, and many of in our community support you guys wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Bill. This community support for its college, I've never seen anything really quite like it. It's not uncommon with rural communities, but we just feel the love all the time from the community. And that makes the work a little easier and certainly worthwhile.
Patrick, this is Reggie Widgeon. I would like to thank you for joining us today. I know it's been a while trying to get you organized and coordinated on the schedule. But I also want to ditto what Bill said regarding you and your team's efforts to transform the college up there. One of the things that stood out with me was the part that you mentioned about follow up and follow through to ensure that the students don't get lost along the way. There are so many life situations, so many distractions that get us off track. And those calls, the follow up that you do will probably get some people back on track that perhaps never would have gotten on track. So that's a very, very valuable effort for helping many of the students, in my mind, from my personal experience and from experience in the professional world.
Thank you so much, Reggie.
I have a question, Patrick.
Hello, Maddie.
Yeah, well, what is the likelihood of these students finding a job after they finish their college?
Well, in this employment environment, very high. We have more jobs than we have employees. It's the number one thing that the businesses and industry are telling us on the shore. We need more folks. The problem, Mehdi, is we have this large pool of people who are not ready for work. And if you've been visiting around the businesses on the shore, you will see, I see people, particularly high school students, in jobs that I would not have seen them in a couple of years ago, but the employers are having to lower their standards because the employment pool is not deep enough. So I think the need here on the shore is really great. Now, the other side, Maddie, that we have a role in, but we're not the lead in, and that's economic development. And what do Northampton and Accomack do towards economic development? Bill Payne and I were at a meeting yesterday, Bill. I thought that was a very good meeting, a planning meeting about resiliency and developing a vision and strategies for the shore.
Well, I have talked to some students who have finished the culinary courses, but then ended up working for McDonald's or some of the fast food restaurants.
So I think that's one reason why we need this effort, Mehdi. We don't have this at the college. We need comprehensive career services. And so if they're finishing a program with us, they need to be able to come back to us at any time, 5 years later, and say, hey, I'm not working in my field, But I talked to Johnny Moe's dad, and I talked to Terrace, and I talked to Blake, and they are eager for us to put more culinary into the workforce. We haven't started it yet, but we plan to work with the restaurateurs on the shore in the fall, like around October, after the season ends, and stand up a culinary program at the college that will feed into those restaurants.
Is there any merit to having entrepreneurship kind of courses where they can establish their own businesses?
Yes. One of the ones that I'm most proud of is our hair braiding and weaving course. And that's taught by Ebony Brown. If you know Ebony Brown, she's an amazing person. And Ebony builds into that course two things that you may not think of with hair braiding and weaving. One is service. So everybody who takes that hair braiding and weaving course has to do service on the shore, which is just terrific. And the other is entrepreneurship. So they have to develop a name for their shop. They have to develop business cards. They have to develop a business plan. She's giving them business skills. So we're looking to provide more entrepreneurship opportunities on the shore, because that's one of the unique and wonderful aspects of the shore, is that there are so many entrepreneurs. It's one of the most entrepreneurial cultures I've ever come across. And some of those folks need more support. For example, folks who aren't interested, who don't have a lot of experience with social media, if they're opening a business that's going to be visible, they need to know how to use social media. And so we're looking at developing courses to provide that kind of support as well. We also work pretty closely with the chambers and the Planning District Commission to make sure that we're not duplicating efforts.
Well, let me
Mary, you were on mute, and I think you had a question.
My question was, I think I took my daughter to the college for a short camp a few weeks ago. I was really curious what program you had there. So I was curious, are you trying to prepare the students as mostly like for the as laborers on the Eastern Shore, or you look at the whole country's labor shortage? Like right now with AI and automation. So have you thought had any program to prepare them for the future, not just for the business on the Eastern Shore, but for the country, like computer science, AI, some kind of more advanced course there? And also there's, I think you live in Onondaga, so you probably heard like they were trying to, they're trying to build a like called a University of the Shore, like U-Shore, led by Terry Malaki. Have you heard about that? Like, so what are your thoughts on that?
I'm on that board. The first question, both of them are excellent. Mary, thank you for those questions. We have two audiences, Mary, and one of our audiences are the businesses and organizations on the shore, the employers. And then the other audience are the learners. And sometimes their interests align. I want to do HVAC, and the shore needs HVAC employees. And sometimes they don't. We all know that some of our young folks are going to graduate from high school to across the bay. Some of them will come back, some of them never will. So we need to serve both of those audiences. We started with the employers, and we think we're doing well in lining up programs that the employers want. The next step is to provide more access to our learners. Now, some of our new programs do that. We're having a registration rally today. I was downstairs talking to a young man. He's interested in IT. And we talked about that. And with IT, there's those stackable credentials. So you can get a career study certificate in a semester. And you've got a career study certificate in IT support, which makes you a Google IT support technician. You can do that from home. You can do it on the shore. You can leave the shore. We have web page development there, and then we have IT management. There are some programs we'll never be able to offer on the shore because we don't have enough students. My favorite example is engineering. So we have a partnership with Tidewater, and with engineering, what we're going to do there is we're going to deliver 75% of that coursework at Eastern Shore Community College. And then the other 25% will be delivered by Tidewater, and they will graduate from Tidewater's program because Tidewater has the degree. We don't have the degree in that. So we're going to expand access that way. And then the other way we're expanding access is strengthening our partnership with ODU. We already have a partnership with ODU, but with both Tidewater and ODU, what I want to do with our catalog is, and this isn't being done anywhere in Virginia. I worry about myself because I do these things that no one else is doing, and I'm thinking I must be stupid. But what we're going to do is in our catalog, we're going to show you the engineering pathway, and we're going to put Tidewater's name on. And we're going to show you the pathway to advanced manufacturing. We're going to put ODU's name on it. You can transfer to Tech, you can transfer to JMU, you can transfer anywhere, but we're going to show you the most direct path right at the beginning in the catalog. And that's not what's going on right now. It's going to take us a couple of years to get that really strengthened, but it's a top priority for this fall. Shore University, I'm on the board, but I've never attended a board meeting. I just got appointed, I don't know, a month or two ago. They had somebody who did a feasibility study, and they're very excited about the feasibility study, and they're looking to get more traction from the General Assembly or the governor for further study or for some seed money. We will partner with any organization on the shore that is involved in education, whether it's K-12 or higher education. Right now, that Shore U, that's going to be a distant dream, right? Even if they got money this year, we're talking years before they would accept their first students. We don't think we can stand still, and that's why we're pursuing Tidewater and ODU at this time. It doesn't preclude Shore U, but again, from my perspective, we don't want to wait on that to come to fruition. If it ever does, I don't know. I'm not in that field. I don't know what the likelihood is of that coming to pass.
Patrick, you kind of touched on this, and actually I scribbled the notes down. I kind of do see a little bit of an avenue for certain engineering fields where people can be trained at your campus, but they can do engineering work from their homes, so they can actually live on the shore, and they don't have to be in an office or an engineering plant to do the work that's required. One of the other questions I had, do you have certificate programs? You don't need to take English and you don't need to take history, but you're looking for a specific career path. I know today I worked in the IT industry for the last 30 plus years of my career. You can go to a cybersecurity school 1 year and you can come out with a starting salary. And I've looked this up online for hiring people at $125,000 a year out of the gate, coming out of 1 year training school in cybersecurity, starting pay, never having to work a job before that. The pay rates are astronomical in the IT world right now. Do you have certificate programs where you're not spending a lot of time on other subjects that are nice, but they're not really applicable to becoming a cyber engineering type person?
Yeah, so those are great points. I really appreciate that, Chuck. So about the engineering, what I was saying there is that to start an engineering associate degree, it'd take us 3 years to get that approved. And I don't know how many students we would have it, but I know that there are engineering students on the shore. I know that there are people whose minds work that way and have that interest. And so my job is to connect them with that opportunity. Now, Chuck, if we were able to find out that we had every year 10 or 12 of those, then we could stand up a program. But if we only have 3 or 5, then let's just connect them where opportunity is. We have 4 types of credentials, maybe 5. One is, I'm going to start at the lowest level. One is a certificate of completion. Our hair braiding classes like that. It's not an industry recognized credential. There's not a licensure associated with that. And that course can go like maybe 10 weeks, 8 weeks. And so you've completed it, but you have the skills to do it. The next is an industry recognized credential, and that would be like CompTIA networking. And again, it can be a course that could be 6, 8, 10 weeks, and you come out and you have an industry recognized credential in that area, and CompTIA builds. So you can get multiple industry recognized credentials. On the academic side, we have career study certificates. They can be as few as 9 credits, 3 classes. You can get them done in 8 weeks. And our IT support, Chuck, the Google IT support, I think, is 16 credits. It's 1 semester program. The web page development, I think, is another 1 semester program. Above the career study certificate, we have a certificate program, and that is 29 to 60 credits. And then we have the associate degree, which is 60 to 70 credits. And what's going on nationally now are stackable credentials. You saw that statistic about people not completing the degree within 6 years, but they need to get something along the way. And so if we can get them a career study certificate and they have to go into the workforce, they have to stop out of college, they've got a marketable credential. Chuck, I think IT is an area where we really have opportunity. You can do it from anywhere, as you know. We're in a memorandum of understanding with ODU and Go Virginia across the bay to develop a cyber program. So that was supposed to have happened in the spring. It did not really sure why. So that's one of the things that I need to pick up in the fall and see if we can get that started, because again, as you said, great opportunity for our shore residents.
Yeah, the one thing I recommend to people, I worked in network engineering and cybersecurity engineering, is to get the certificate, get into that line of business. You usually get hired by a company that has employee assistance programs for further education. So you get your foot in the door, you get a good job, a good paying job, plus they will pay for your education to go back to school and get your degree, which, you can't beat that.
Well, here's something really exciting in Virginia, and that's G3. It's a program funded at $36 million. And in high demand fields, you can go for free, even making up to 400% of the federal poverty line. So for a family of four, the 200% is $55,000. So a family of four, 400% is 110,000. Don't quote me on the number, but the scale is about right. And so IT is one of those fields, welding, HVAC, electricity, healthcare, and we have credentials in all these fields. We don't have the cyber yet, but that's one we're going to pursue. And as soon as we do, it'll be eligible. Also, Chuck, one of the cool things about that program is if you're very low income, you will get a stipend. So it'll pay for all your tuition, all of your books, all your materials and supplies. And if you're very low income, a $900 stipend to help. Maybe you could work a little bit less while you're in school because you've got this subsidy coming from the government. That's the thinking behind that, to increase opportunity.
I have a question. On your vocational training, like you said, you have HVAC and electricity. Is that, do you have room for practical as well as technical experience teachings?
Could you tell me a little bit more there, Stan?
Let's say I'm an electrician, and the electrical technology is one thing, and then you also have a practical experience for these kids when they come out, so that they know how to wire a building, or they know how to bend pipe, or they know how to calculate radiuses and things of that nature. As well as the technical aspects of Ohm's law and things like that. But do you have the practical equipment that they can use to get that experience at ECC?
Well, what I don't have is an electricity instructor, Stan, so stay on the line after this meeting. Yes, we do have that in two ways, Stan. One is our lab has that equipment in it. And so there's a book part, I'll call it, but most of those classes are really applied. They're really actually doing the work and mock-up of walls and buildings, and conduits and things like that. It's really good. And also, almost all those programs have an internship opportunity, and that's absolutely the best. So our two academic programs in electrical are called electrician helper and electrician assistant. And so the helper is like just basic get started skills. And then the electrician assistant is at a higher level, and then that can culminate in a 2-year degree. We also have in what we call our workforce side, NCCER, which is a nationally recognized credential in electricity that has multiple levels, including the hands-on is the biggest part of that, Stan. It really is. I think you would agree.
Okay, any other questions for Patrick?
I have a comment and a question. First of all, Patrick, the holistic approach that you take to the needs of a student is fantastic.
Yeah.
I think you cover a lot of bases that are going to assure people getting through the program, not getting started and getting frustrated. But the question that comes to my mind is, how do the members of the Cape Charles Rotary Club help? Is there a mentoring program of any type, or some way that we as individuals can contribute to what's going on?
Thank you for that generous question. Yes, absolutely. So I mentioned, Randy, that on June 30th, 2019, there was the Saturday Night Massacre when they got rid of a third of the staff and they reorganized the college, and they didn't tell people how to do their jobs. They just said, oh, by the way, you're now in charge of this too, without any training, without any implementation plan. We have been recovering from that for 2 years and trying to get our structure back together. We are now in the process of hiring somebody to do student activities. That person was let go. Well, they weren't let go, they left, and that position was never filled. So that's going to help us. We also have a full-time employee whose main job, Randy, is student engagement. And we are looking for mentorships in there. That's one we want to try to connect young people with mentoring experiences, because if you've ever had it, you know that those things really work. So that effort is very nascent. We haven't gotten, we just hired that person a couple of months ago. She's got several other things on her list of requirements. And then, Randy, what I would say is 2 other things that we really need. One is we're going to need, for those who are still business owners, to offer internships, to partner with us and to open up their doors and allow our students to come in there. And then we also, I mentioned, we need instructors. And so we really need retired folks on the shore who have skills in high need areas to help us out. We don't have a mechatronics instructor. We don't have an industrial technology instructor, even though we have programs that require those courses. Electricity, we're really hurting in electricity. I think I finally got somebody in electricity. IT, we're always looking for IT instructors. Doing okay on math, but sometimes we need math. We're okay on science right now, but that's always a changing thing. Spanish instructor, we don't have a Spanish instructor. So, you know, we got plenty of people with English degrees like I do, right? And history degrees. We do okay with business, but we don't do well with economics and accounting. So that would be another way I would say the Rotary could help us, either by participating yourself or by connecting us to people who may want to do it. We find that a lot of retired folks get a great sense of satisfaction out of teaching just a single class. You know, it gives you a real charge. It makes you young too, Randy. I'll just let you know, it makes you young.
Okay, any other questions for Patrick?
I have a question, Patrick. My name is Joan. I'm wondering, we're here in Cape Charles, the lower end of the Northampton County Eastern Shore. And I wonder how many students you have at the community college from our area. And is it not a challenge for those to get up to the school to participate in the learning experience if they live down here?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the college is centrally located, but that's on a 70-mile stretch, right? You know, so you can be centrally located and still be far away from Cape Charles. For my own thing, Joan, if you'll forgive a personal anecdote, when my husband and I were looking for housing here, we ruled out Cape Charles. And the only reason we did was because it was too far from the college. I knew what my hours were going to be at the college, and I couldn't afford a 45-minute commute on both ends. We have opened up centers at the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel and up in Chickantee and Tangier, and we couldn't get any students to enroll. We're talking to the Rosenwald School in Cape Charles about setting up a satellite site there. The one advantage that we have now, Joan, that we didn't have pre-COVID is everybody knows how to do remote instruction now. And so students have a lot more access to classes and programs without leaving Cape Charles than they did 2 years ago. Would I rather be on campus? Many of our students say so. And some classes have to be on campus. Nurse aid, you've got to come to campus. You've got to do the lab work on campus. So we're going to continue to explore that, Joan. I mean, it's one of my goals is to have these remote centers. I'll be honest with you, Joan, I don't mind admitting we haven't figured it out. And anybody who can help us figure it out, you know, we certainly would welcome that. We're able to find the spots. We're not able to get the students to enroll in those locations. And we're going to need a certain critical mass, right? Because those things have to be staffed. You know, unless you're doing it in partnership with a library or something like that. So those are some of the issues we're trying to solve there. But Joan, I would encourage you, if you don't mind, keep asking us that question. You know, hold us accountable to it. What are you doing for Cape Charles? Keep asking us that.
Okay, any other questions? Patrick, really appreciate your time. And if we can kidnap you and make you part of the Cape Charles Rotary Club, I'd be okay with that, wouldn't you?
All right, there you go. I really appreciate y'all time. You were very generous with allowing me to say a few things about the college. I didn't even scratch the surface. There's a lot more going on, but I just wanted you to get those 4 big ideas, you know, just to recognize those 4 big ideas that we're trying to work on.
Okay, and I'm sure things are going to continue to change as we emerge out of COVID and as technology keeps moving along at a pretty quick pace. I'm sure you got your hands full just trying to keep up with that. And we will definitely have you back and give us updates on how things are changing at the college.
Great.
Bill Payne. We're going to close out the meeting now, and for everything we as Rotarians think, do, and say, let's go through the list. Number 1, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Number 2,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number 3, will it
Will
build
it build
Goodwill
goodwill
and better
better
friendship.
friendships? And 4, will
Will
it be
it be
beneficial?
beneficial to all concerned?
And Stan, you're the man because you always get the last say so in this.
Well, we definitely have some fun.
Yes, sir, we will.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody, and take care. And next week, remember, we meet at the park at 6 o'clock. No Zoom meeting during the day. So we'll see you next week. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Whole committee, site committee, please remain at the meeting since we're going to have the meeting shortly after this. Thank you.